Good night and welcome to This Week in Review. This week highlights Brian Tobin's announcement regarding the Atlantic groundfish strategy. We'll see how people respond to that announcement. An interview with Mr. Ken Benoite, principal of the high school, and much more, so please stay tuned.
At Participaction, we're seeing how active living makes a difference to the environment and our future.
We know that walking is good for us.
Choosing to walk or cycle instead of driving are easy ways to save gas and reduce pollution.
Just little things, just a little bit, walking to the store or stuff like that. We're all doing our little bit. Our parents tried to provide us with something. We'd like to pass something on and sort of instill that in him.
Gardening is good for you. And by composting, we reduce yard waste.
It keeps me in good shape. You get concentrating on something that you really enjoy and all your troubles disappear. It's good physically, it's good mentally. All my leaves and lots of neighbours' leaves go into the compost pile. Reuse it if you can. It recycles, and that's what life's about these days.
Go for green with active living, a choice for everyone's future. Moving your way every day. Participaction.
Tuesday, the Federal Fisheries Minister, Mr. Brian Tobin, announced details regarding the Atlantic groundfish strategy. To sum up a 9-page news release on the Atlantic groundfish strategy, also called TAGS, here's the conclusion of some of the main points. The $1.9 billion strategy begins May 16, 1994, and runs for 5 years. Workers who are receiving assistance under INCARP and a GAP will continue to receive income support until at least December 31st, 1994, providing they file an application by June 30th, 1994. Eligibility for income support under TAGS will be assessed by Human Resources Development and is tied to workers participating in job counseling, training, skills development, and other programs. The minimum weekly rate is $200 and the maximum is $382, 6% less than the current maximum. Benefits will be paid every 2 weeks. Eligibility criteria for fishers and fish plant workers will be based on attachment or dependence on the groundfish industry. If you are now receiving INCARP or GAP assistance, you will soon receive an application form in the mail along with information explaining eligibility rules. A wide range of options are available under TAGS, with the emphasis on ongoing counseling and active participation. Each option is designed to improve an individual's employment opportunities. Options include skills and literacy training, green environmental projects, employment bonuses, portable wage subsidies, self-employment assistance, a community opportunities pool, and mobility assistance. Other special programs for youth and older workers are also available. For more information about TAG programs and services, you may contact the Canada Employment Outreach. Up next are some views on this announcement from the community. Announcement that was brought in by Brian Tobin, what do you think of it?
I think very much of it, to tell you the truth. I mean, a lot is not saying or telling people anyway, right? I guess whoever live with it.
I don't think it's too bad, though.
No?
Not too bad. They could have done a lot worse.
Yeah.
I mean, Norton loses 6%. So, overall, that's not bad.
So are you on the moratorium package?
Yes.
You are? And you're satisfied with that?
I'm only getting minimum now anyway, so it doesn't affect me.
Well, don't feel too good about it.
No?
Are
you on the moratorium?
Yes.
I see. So you weren't satisfied with this announcement?
Well, some of it was satisfying, some more of it was went too much details on a lot of it.
You know, something had to be done, and I think everybody knew that the moratorium package as it is, it couldn't go on forever. You know, until we know more about the details of it, I guess we won't know if it's good or not, because you still don't know who's going to qualify and what the conditions
Right.
are, the criteria, how many people are going to end up coming off the package or what's going to happen. So, still pretty unsettling, I think.
The only thing I can really understand there is about 6%. Cut it. Like I said, I guess nobody doesn't want to cut it this time, but it could have been a lot worse. The other stuff I don't understand. A lot of stuff. We don't know even not better. Still puzzled, still puzzled.
In regards to Mr. Tobin announcement on the TAGS program, there's a lot of information not yet being made available, and it's going to take some time, but I'm sure that, with the amount of income, I guess nobody wanted to see a reduction, but according to Mr. Tobin, I spoke to Mr. Tobin personally, that he felt that that was the best that he could do under the circumstances, because there is a lot of people in government, I guess, in opposition in Ottawa and other provinces that is totally against monies coming to Newfoundland for the fisheries package. So with talking to Mr. Tobin and Fishermen's Union, we're generally pleased with what has happened so far. Not saying in the next couple of weeks we're going to find some information come out that probably is not going to be acceptable to us, but right now we're generally pleased.
Very good. So I understand that you had a union meeting today. Was that based on the new package that's been out?
Yes, the main reason of the meeting was to, I guess, bring the members up to date with the new program TAGS and explain some of the criteria to them. In order to qualify, you had to meet certain criteria, and that's what we did today. And we had, I guess, an excellent turnout to the meeting, and most people was generally pleased with the results of the package. So we got to wait and see now what happens, I guess, in the next weeks and days to come.
I don't know, I guess it's okay. I'm not on the package myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure what everybody feel about, but I guess it's extended for a little while, so I guess that's okay.
Yes.
If it suits the rest of them, I guess that's the big question, but like I say, I'm not on it myself.
Right.
So.
Later this week, I met with Mr. Ken Benoite, principal of the high school, concerning the performance of the students over the past term. Good afternoon, Mr. Benoite.
Good afternoon, Dina.
Mr. Benoite is our new principal here at St. John's Central High School. And I understand that the third term reports that went on Friday. How did the students perform this term compared to other terms?
Well, the students' performance this term, I think, was perhaps no different than they have been for other terms, and perhaps no different than the rest of the district or the rest of the province. But I think we had to bear in mind that this doesn't tell the whole story. Many of our students, and I would perhaps go so far as to say that 50% or even greater, are not performing to potential. We realize that the academic standards of the province is somewhat low, and I guess the academic standards of our school is much the same, and consequently students who graduate from school with a 70 average being the minimum go on to university only to find that it's almost like running into a brick wall. So what's happening is that many of the students in school are not acquiring all the knowledge and skills that they are able to. They're passing, but passing in itself is not enough. And I think that we have to take a good look at our students. You have to look at your children, and we have to ask ourselves, what can we as parents, and of course myself a parent and a teacher, what can we do to raise the academic standards of our children? Now I realize a lot of parents out there don't have the academic skills necessary to help their children, especially in the junior high. And we know that children in the junior high are at the most difficult age. They don't always tell you the truth. They don't tell you that they have homework when they do have it. They never often tell you when they're supposed to be doing things like assignments and so on. So you had to rely upon whatever knowledge you can find out from other people or from the school. To kind of curb this, we've installed a homework line. And this homework line will tell you of all the major tests and assignments that are upcoming, and kind of give you an opportunity to get your child ready. If you have problems with getting your child to study or to work, then probably you can contact the school and we can try to give you some tips as to what you might do with your child. Or we can arrange for some math tutorials, because mathematics is a very difficult subject area for a lot of students. We have tutorials there at school that they can avail of. We also have students who are home from university who have offered to do tutorials for you so that your child could stay behind at 3:10 or some other time, and to do extra help to help them bring up their math mark. We also have a home school that's been reactivated recently, and they're meeting on May the 4th. And I would suggest that all parents who can should get out to this meeting and to air any concerns that they might have. It's a good avenue for you to tell the school some of your problems and to vent some of your frustrations, and for us to be able to talk to you in a more informal manner. A lot of people just walk by the school and never come in, and they look up at it. I don't know for what reason. They're kind of intimidated. I say to you, you should not be intimidated by the school. The school doesn't belong to the teachers. It belongs to the people of the community. We only work for you and for your children. So what you should do, you should come into the building, make yourself known to us. Not that we don't know you, because many of us have been here as long as you have, and your children are much the same age as our own children. But you should come into the school and to try to feel comfortable and be able to talk to us in an informal manner, not only when you have problems, but just when you have some positive suggestions. And that way, maybe when a problem does arise, it'll be much easier for you to contact us and to be able to work things out.
What would you suggest, excuse me, what would you suggest, having some students, seeing some students are the performances below standards? Why? What would you suggest would be the reason behind that?
Well, one of the main problems we have here that's developed as of late is that and I not say as of late because it's been a little bit of a problem with some students since September, but the attendance in our school is somewhat less than desirable. The records would indicate that back in September we had about 139 student days per month, which is about 0.5 days for every student in school. And the record for March indicates that there's 467, which means that there's 2 days absent for every student in school. So if you know that this doesn't apply to all students, so if you take this across the spectrum of students who are actually missing days, then we have students who are missing, 30 and 40 and 20% of their time. And even if it's 10% of their time, it's 10% of the instruction that they're not getting. And given the fact that you usually forget 50% of what you learn in a very short time, that doesn't leave you a lot when it's all said and done. So poor attendance is definitely a problem. But another major part of the problem is that students are not on task while they're in school. Now, the answer to this is not an easy one. Some would say it's the teacher's fault. I say that it's a combination of many things. But the bottom line is that the student that loses out. And like students have to understand when they leave home in the morning, they are coming to a place where they are supposed to learn something. Their parents are spending big money to send them there through their tax dollars, and when they go on to university, you'll realize just how much money you're really spending, because it has to be your dollars then, not your tax dollars. And the government is spending atrocious amount, as you know from the recent political game that's being played, that they're trying to trim some of that now, to educate children. And if we have children who are coming to an institution with the attitude that we are only going to learn if you want to force something down our throats, or we really don't care, then we have a real problem. And I think that's where the problem lies here. It's the attitude that, mediocre is good enough. Like, oh, I got 75. 75 is good. And my child say it to me, Dad, why are you upset? I got 79. But I'm so upset because he could have gotten 99 and should have gotten 99. And you should be upset too. If your child comes home with a 65 and you know bloody well that he could get a 85 or a 90, then you should demand that he should get an 85 or a 90. And you shouldn't be satisfied with anything less. And I think that's what's happening. And I think that in itself could help change the academic performance of the school. I mentioned before the homework line, and that's a kind of a communication, because before then no one really knew what was happening with respect to junior high. A lot of junior high kids that come from elementary, and a lot of them in grade 7 haven't really adapted to the high school situation. And they think that if a teacher doesn't tell them to read from word hey to word B, then they don't have to do anything, when a lot of their work is employed work. But the homework line has helped to curb some of that. So I think the attendance, being on task while you're in school, and coming to school prepared with your books, and I say this, I know that sounds kind of silly, but you'd be surprised at how many children come to school without exercises, without pencils, without textbooks, without calculators. And all of this, helps to detract from the learning. So the thing is, parents, we have to ensure that our children come to school prepared, come to school with the right attitude, and come to school. And I think if we work together with the school and with our child, I think perhaps, and help to curb some of these things, maybe we can bring the academic performance up, and that your child who's capable of getting an 85 will indeed get an 85.
Can there be special teachings given to students on good study habits, or is there information that the students can access from the school here on good study habits?
Yes, well, we have a guidance counselor on staff who is ready, willing, and able, and have done so in many cases, give students tips on how to study. We ourselves as teachers have given students tips and guides as how to study. I think you find that some of the literature that they have, like their handbook and so on, recommends to them certain things to do. I think that they've got lots of information on how to study. I think what's lacking is the will to want to do it. I know, like, it's common knowledge that not most people, perhaps, but a lot of people are procrastinators. You put things off. Never do today until what you can put off until tomorrow. And when you're in school, that usually catches up with you. An attitude should be fostered amongst the children that you do what you have to do, as soon as you can and as well as you can. And don't do it for the teacher, and don't do it for your parents, but do it for yourselves, because the information that you learn today, you will have to use tomorrow. And I can't learn it for you, your parents can't learn it for you. You have to do it for yourselves.
And now that you've mentioned and elaborated on the third term report, on the report, inside the report, there's the first term, the midterm, and now the third term marks. How are these marks put together? How are they rated?
Okay, well, I put a notice on BBS to that effect, but I'd like to explain a little bit about that because a lot of parents don't understand. The mark that you see, the last mark, which is the third term mark, is a cumulative mark, which means that is the mark that the kids have accumulated in that subject to date. So if you see a 75, that means that in social studies, for example, if you get a 75 in the third term, don't just ignore the other two, because the other two is rolled into the third one. So your child will now have a 75 in social studies to this date. So if school were to stop right here and now, and we were to give him his grade, it would be 75. So everything else is all averaged into that. So he, that's what he has now, 75%. So between now and June, he could improve that mark, or it could go down, depending on how it already works and so on and so forth.
So like you said, the other two term marks it has been related, but you don't average out the 3 marks.
No,
the third one is already averaged.
That's right. You wouldn't look at, if there were, say, a 75 and 90 and a 60, you would not average the 3 of them and say that this person got the average of these 3. The mark has already been done for you. The third mark is the one that you look at. That's the one that counts. The other 2 are irrelevant at this time.
I understand there's something special going on in the school here on Monday.
Yes.
Would you like to explain?
Well, Monday is career day. As you know, many of our students have a difficult time deciding what they're going to do. These are tough economic times for everybody, and all you can look at is doom and gloom wherever you look. But even though in the midst of this doom and gloom, there are still some bright spots, and there are still sectors of the economy that are strong and healthy, and people are hiring. And I think our students need to know that. So what we've done, we've invited people in from the various post-secondary institutions, namely, I should say, MUN, Kean Tech, Compute College, West Viking, Career Academy, and Canadian Employment and Immigration, CEIC. And all of these people will be set up in various locations throughout the school, and the grade 9s, level 1s, level 2s, and level 3s will rotate through these 6 groups of people throughout the day. So they will be exposed to all of the programs that these post-secondary institutions have to offer, and the kind of educational requirements that will be expected of them should they apply. And of course, CEIC is going to give them a kind of an outlook on the economy of Canada, look at which sectors are strong and which places they should look to, or which areas they should look at if they're looking at gainful employment in the near future. So this will be taking place on Monday, and it'll go through from 9 in the morning right on through to 3:10 in the afternoon. But at 2:30, all of the students will have gone through this, and there will be a slot open from 2:30 to 3:10, or it could go on longer than that if there was a need, that I would invite all of the public, anybody in the public who is looking at re-educating or choosing a career. Maybe somebody who's 35 or 40 might want to think about another career, and there might be somebody out there who's 16 or 18 or 19 and finished school and maybe thinking about choosing a career for the first time. Whoever you are invited to come into the school and to check out these institutions and ask any questions that you might want to find out, because I'm sure that there are a lot of unanswered questions.
Great. Is there anything else you like, any points to ponder, or?
No, I just like to say that, oftentimes the perception of teachers and students and parents have been one that we have not always been on the same side. I would like to say to parents that we are here to serve the students and to serve you, the parents. Like, it is our role to help you educate your child. I mean, we can't do it alone, and oftentimes we have to do things that we don't like to do. From time to time, we have to chastise people. In fact, we even have to send people home because we are so frustrated with them, we don't know what to do. And the law, determines just how far we can go. And when it gets to the point where we have, exercised all of our legal bounds, then we have no other alternative but to say, look, you, the parent, have to take custody of this child until you can guarantee to us that he's going to behave in a manner that we can deal with, because we are not allowed to discipline only in a very mild manner, if you will. And of course, even yourself, for that, we realize that things have changed over the years, and the corporal punishment is a thing of the past. So I want to say to you again, I don't know if the message is loud and clear or not, that we like to work with you, and we pool our resources and take all of our energies and put it together for the good of your child. I think that we can improve their academic standing, we can improve the social atmosphere of the school, and we can improve the relationship between the home and the school. And I think that's what we need to do. Because if the new councils are implemented as the Department of Education is advocating, that the running of this school will be done from this community. You won't not have a school board. Most of it will be, if the school board will be on kind of hands-off, it'll be almost like site-based management. It'll be made up of a council of people in the school, representatives from the school, and we will, or you will, I should say, determine how the school is run. So I think it's a good time now for everybody to take a good look at, where they have set in the past with respect to education, because oftentimes we've taken the hands-off attitude and say, well, it's not the role of the parent, it's the role of the teacher, and oftentimes teachers have been frustrated and perhaps passed blame onto parents that wasn't necessarily justifiable either. So I say what we should do is take a good look at ourselves and work together. Do whatever we can, take all of our energies, put them together for the benefit of the student. And I'm sure that all of these problems that we were outlining here could be rectified. There's one other thing that I really want to elaborate on, and not a lot, but I have to feel I have to do this because it's very important. Up until age 16, school is not necessarily a privilege, it's a must. You legally have to come to school. But once you pass the age of 16, then school is a privilege. You are here by invitation, basically. The Department of Education states in this act that a student must do two things. They must come to school regular, and secondly, they must apply themselves diligently to their studies. Now, in the school now, we have a number of students who are of school leaving age and who are just doing just not that. They are not applying themselves to their studies, and they are not coming to school regularly. Therefore, it is the position of myself, the administration of this school, and of the school board, and of all the people concerned, that this is to the detriment of the rest of the student body. Most recently, the Department of Education have taken a very strong view on this, and they're advocating that if we have people like this, disruptive bodies in the classroom, then these people are to be removed. So if anybody is in this category of not attending school or just here for the lark of it, and are disruptive and not necessarily disruptive even, or are not applying themselves to their studies, just using it as a place of social whatever, just being here to socialize, then we will be not inviting these students back in 1994. I will be personally singling out who these students are, if there are any of them, and there are some to date, but they have an opportunity to change now, and I think this is what they have to look at. But I will be contacting the parents of those students and indicating to them that come 1994, you will not be invited back to the school. Not because we don't want you, but because you're not here for the right reasons. But should you change your attitude in a year or so, then you are certainly welcome back.
Great. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Benoite.
You're welcome.
Wednesday, the wood cutting permits were given out at the town hall. After speaking with the town clerk, Mr. Stan Kosser, he informed me that approximately 100 permits were given out, and the people were waiting in a line. At the elementary school this week, there was a bicycle safety seminar given to the students to inform them of how important it really is to practice safety while riding. Mr. Jerry Green was the speaker.
Okay, I'm going to say talk to you about cycle safety. How many people here ride a bike? Everybody, right? Ride a bike. Yeah. How many people wear a bike helmet? 1, 2, 3. Well, you guys are really cool. The rest of them are not cool.
Here are some bicycle safety tips and facts. In 1990, over 60 Canadian children were killed and thousands were injured in bicycle-related accidents. About half of serious bicycle injuries occur in driveways, on bike paths, and in parkways away from the car traffic. Wearing a bicycle helmet reduces the risk of head injury by 85%. It is estimated that if all cyclists in Canada wore helmets, 1 death would be prevented each week. You wonder how to get your children into the helmet habit? Well, here's some tips that you can use. Establish the habit early in their childhood life. Wear the helmet yourself. Practice what you preach. Let your children personally choose and decorate their helmets. Always insist that your child wear the helmet. Award and praise your child for wearing his or her helmet. Use positive peer pressure. Encourage your child's friends to wear helmets. Be consistent. Every time, every ride, like buckling a safety belt. Encourage other parents to buy their children helmets. Emphasize the importance of their child's safety. There was a seniors' day held at the parish hall, and the ACW put their cooks to work. The Lions and Lioness presented a television to the chronic care unit at the Calder Health Facility this week.
On behalf of the Burgeo Lions and Lioness, we'd like to present this TV to the Calder Health Care. We hope the patients enjoy it, and we look forward to helping you out sometime in the future.
Thank you very much. Certainly on behalf of the residents, we certainly thank the Lions and the Lionesses for their generosity, and I think this large screen TV will be appreciated very much by some of our residents who do have trouble seeing. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
On Friday, the law class at the high school had a presentation on Alternative Measures Program, hosted by Mr. Keith Skinner, Student Probation Officer.
He would first have to meet the eligibility criteria. He must be less than 18 years of age. He must have an old Florida court record. And if he agrees, and the crown attorney agrees, and the victim agrees, the one that broke his windshield was broken, they all agrees, then alternative measures program will be established. And well, I guess if he broke his windshield, the dog would probably want compensation. He probably would want money back for the windshield. And if he was willing to pay for that windshield, I'm going to see the court proceedings with that. The police get involved. Police must agree too. If someone commits a crime, like you say, breaking the windshield, and the police say, well, no, we don't want that on alternative measures program, we want to take it to court, then he's going to court. With the alternative measures program, the police are still involved. Police are still involved. They investigate. They investigate. And there must be evidence, not evidence to prosecute. So that's the only way alternative measures can be in place. There must be evidence to prosecute. So the defendant, he got to confess to the crime. He got to confess to the crime totally. He's got to admit that he did it. So it also takes responsibility for the crime. And like the parents are not involved, parents are not going to court, and it's a lot better proceeding. And I think that Virgil should have an alternative measures program. Because a lot of, like I said, there's 7 young offenders on the caseload, and a lot of these offenses with alternative measures program would be beneficial. And instead of going to court, wasting the court's time and money and all the paperwork that's involved, it'd be a lot better.
This presentation will be shown in its entirety earlier this week. Also this week, I was able to meet with Mr. Kelvin Hellier for an interview.
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Hellier.
Good afternoon, Mrs.
Marston.
Marsden.
Good afternoon, Keith.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Marsden.
I understand that you sing Newfoundland and country music. Do you write these songs yourself?
Yes, I do. Some of them. And some are written by different people. I try to get different people to write different songs because that way you get different ideas from different people. Because usually you got one person with this set of ideas in their head, and the other guy's experienced something, this missus has experienced something, and this other guy's experienced something. So you get a lot of different things going through people's heads, which they relate to the songs, which gives me a chance to bring out different experiences that people went through, you know. Whether it be shipwrecks or train rides or smuggling booze or whatever, you know.
And that's some of the songs that you have sung about, right?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Do you perform just in Newfoundland?
No.
Where else have you performed?
Last year we were in Nova Scotia, Halifax, Dartmouth, basically all over. And the year before that was in Ontario, Toronto, Scarborough, Bramalea, Brampton area. Every summer we try to get on the go. And each year I probably get a little bit longer because I got a daughter who does some singing with me. But she's in school until the last of June to the 1st of September. So during that break we usually get on doing tours across different parts of Canada.
Okay. What has been your biggest performance?
Biggest performance? I guess apart from television, maybe in the different arenas, 15, 1600, 2,000 people. But apart from that, I done an interview with CBC National News, I think it was 2 years ago, when all the people up in the Burin Peninsula were getting caught with booze. So they decided to come out and they were doing send a film crew out and doing an interview with some of the different fellows that were getting caught. So they found out about me, not smuggling, just singing, of course, you know.
Yes.
And we got a note there for the RCMP, right? Don't smuggle, just sing, right?
So do you have a tape out now, I understand?
Mhm.
What's the name of your tape?
Actually, we got 7 out now.
7 tapes?
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
So the latest one is tape. It's an all Newfoundland tape.
Mhm.
It's a tape that title song is When the Last Ship Comes Sailing In, which is kind of appropriate for Newfoundland and I guess Nova Scotia too.
Mhm.
Before that, we done country. The year before that was country. We went to Nashville and recorded down on 16th Avenue in Nashville.
Very good.
Recorded an all country tape down there, me and my daughter. So it worked out pretty good. Good experience.
Yeah.
We had some players play with George Jones, Dolly Parton, Crystal Gayle, Vern Gosling, Stonewall Jackson. Play with me on that tape. So.
That's great. So how long have you been singing? When did you first start into this field? Or are you born natural?
Yeah, well, the first cry I let in me, I thought Mother said was a song, so.
Well, that's wonderful. You're gifted.
It's from that on, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I started playing probably guitar, accordion when I was like 11, 12 years old, so ever since that I've been
Great.
screeching at my little lungs.
Yes. So I understand you have your brother Keith here, and what is your role in this?
I mostly do door-to-door sales for him, around selling tapes.
He looks
now.
after me.
Oh, well, that's great.
He's a little Mickey.
Is there anything else you'd like to tell Burgeo residents? Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, we've been spending a few days here now in Burgeo and Ramia. Played here over and down in Ramia here in Burgeo, and we've been had probably one of the better times we've been had on the road. Met all the people.